Autobots are always fighting. Must we drag you humans into it too?
I think we already are in it, Cerebros.
Welcome back to the Tiberium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the FT-40A Hannibal. We've been talking about FT-40 for a while. This is the head, so we're just starting out with the head, and it's a pretty good figure overall. There's some stuff that's a little confusing that it's a FansToys product, but we'll talk about that as we go. But overall, it does look very well. It presents very well. It feels a little lighter. We're going to talk about that. And it's going to do what it needs to do to get the job done. Now, I expect that all the other headmasters they make are going to be solid and heavy like the ones they made in the past. And we'll get into all this. I did get this to Show Z. We're going to talk about that. I have a link down below where you can get yours also. Let's get into discussing everything about Hannibal coming up. Let's take a quick look at this box here, and you know, one of the things about this is it looks like it's got some animation on it, which I like. It's really awesome, but it's not from the movie or from any of the Series 3 or anything like Series 4 or anything like that. What it is it's just its own art, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, this wasn't in the movie, but this art just kind of makes you think of the animation from back in the day, and that's kind of cool. That's kind of fun. Here's how it comes packaged, which I was a little curious, but you do have the figure in there, and you've got some extra parts, swappable parts, and that kind of stuff right there. And then we have the lower section right here, which you're going to have the stand. So I was curious how they were going to do this, and it's pretty interesting packaging, but it's just one of those things that I was like, how exactly are they going to pull this off? And they did. They pull it off. Cool. Right, so here he is out of the package, and a couple things that you kind of have to do, which I don't know if it was just mine. It might have just been mine, but you do have to kind of clip these pieces in right here. So those weren't clipped in on mine, and maybe it is so that it can fit better or something. I don't know. So you have to clip those pieces in, and my toes are folded down, so I fold my toes up. So that's not a big deal at all. Actually, it's probably the least work I've done getting one of these out of the box. Maybe I'm missing something that needs to be done once it comes right out of the box, but still pretty cool. Looks like these aren't tabbed in either, so I'm gonna have to mess with that. But yeah, right out of the box, there's not a whole lot to do. All right, so let's take a quick look at this guy, and of course he is a headmaster, so he looks good, but kind of gray. Obviously, they're going for the Japanese headmaster, not the U.S. Let's try to get the lighting right on him so he's not too much of a glare. And overall, he does look kind of plain, but he does look kind of animation accurate, so that's kind of how that's going to go. Cleaning the back, I went ahead and cleaned this up, but I didn't clean that one up. I'm wondering if this is going to be hard to pop out. Anyway, does look great. You do have this pop-down panel, and it can show that he has pretty much maximum everything. So the head it does rotate, and it does do one of those things where it plugs into the section where it's going to rotate. And then I've had the head pop off on me a few times, so it's not on there like super solid, but it's not like it's going to fall off just from normal use. But just mess around with it, you could pop it off a bit. And then getting down, just not really much paint, and it's either gray or silver. I'm assuming all of this gray is painted, but there's not a lot of accents in it. You do kind of see all the screw holes in the back. But let's go ahead and take a quick look at accessories, then we get into some articulation. Okay, so on this side, this is mostly for the head alt mode parts. So those are swappable, and we can do that later on, and for the most part. Now, the stand itself is made for the head, but they wanted to have some sort of inclusion. Sure, it has something in the Japanese media that I don't know. There's some sort of something about that. Somebody had explained it once. You also get an alternate head, so let's do a head comparison. So one's sort of stoic, one's sort of yelling, screaming, and excited. So a lot of fun there. We do get this hand that's really just gripping hand, so no big deal at all, really. But it is for one specific scene. And if you want to unscrew it all and pop it out and all that kind of stuff, put this on there, you can do it. So he has the one scene where he pulls this out. I'm guessing that's something, I don't really know. I don't know. It's cool. It's interesting. It's something they included. So then, of course, he has his sword and his gun. There's his gun. No paint on it at all, or it's completely painted, but no accents. That's kind of the way all this is looking. Everything's completely painted, just no accents there. And it's all painted one uniform color, which is animation accurate. Okay, that's animation accurate. And with this sword, it doesn't really tab in, and it impedes on this side. So really, the fingers are all that's holding it in place, and it does a good, well, does an okay job. But I'm okay. If it doesn't tab into that slot very well, but the hand holds it reasonably well, I'm okay with it. This has a nice metallic paint. This has a nice color breakup to it. What's going on? It's got something on it, some sort of residue on it. But still, pretty cool looking, very good looking overall. Now for articulation, we've already kind of done the head side to side and all that kind of stuff, and not much up and down with it. The shoulder goes out to about there, and you've got with a pretty simple 360. Yeah, let's flip that around there. And we do have a bicep swivel, and we have elbow double jointed, very good double jointed elbow with that right there. And then of course we have with the hands doing a lot of good stuff, and they don't splay, but they're pretty solid hands. They work pretty well. And there is 1, 2, is it 3 points articulation on those fingers, and then 2 on the thumb, so not bad. Now you do have the waist doing all kinds of crazy stuff here. Let me get that done. Okay, so pulled it up a bit so you can see what all it can do if you want to give it extreme kind of waist and all that, or you can pop it back down into place, and that works fine. Now it's scary because this is actually painted. I keep saying it's not painted. It's painted, even though it doesn't have a whole lot of accents on it. Everything's painted, and it could rub off, but it's pretty strong. It holds up pretty well, more or less, but I already can see some blemishes on mine, if you can see that right on the waist area. So I'm trying to be super careful with it. Anyway, we're going back to the days of the old days of hip flapping. So let's hip flap this guy, and this should fold out a little bit more. I don't know why it's not. All right, well, I'm going to there, I'm going to here. I'm not going to stress this any further than that. I don't need any further than that, by the way. I mean, I'm not sticking up for FansToys here, although you can kind of move this hip out too, part of transformation, all that kind of stuff. So you've got that. You do have a universal right here for that. You do have the knee, only the 45, and this keeps popping out on me. And then, okay, we got the foot. Yeah, see, I barely put any pressure on it, and it just pops out. But the foot, and it does that. You got a little bit of toe down and up and down, all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and get into some comparisons. Let me see if I can tighten this guy up just a bit more. Now for the best and most important part of any review is, of course, the comparison. So here it is next to a KO MP44, about the same size. I'm happy with this height. That works. Here's another good comparison. So here he is next to the Make Toys version. It's actually Yes Model Make Toys version of Chrome Dome and Hardhead. And first off, I think they fit in well. It works really well. Second off, I think they should have gone the whole other direction for the next releases that are made for Headmasters from FansToys and finish these up with Brainstorm and the other guy. And I also want to say that this guy does feel light for a FansToys and about the same weight as these. This one might be a little bit lighter, but this one is heavier. So with that, it fits in very well with what we already have. Let's kind of move forward instead of rehashing the same ground. But they're going to rehash the same ground with those guys. Okay, and here he is next to a couple of FansToys friends, frenemies. And this is Chomp and Dracula. And looking at them, they all kind of fit together. They kind of blend together. They have the same similar type of paint and aesthetic. Kind of works. Of course, they're not playing for the same team. So this is night and day, apples and oranges comparison, but I want to say that I want this color scheme on this bot, and that's just the way I view it. Hey, where's your electronics there, FansToys? Anyway, still, it's a great looking figure. Let's just get this color scheme. I think you'll sell way more with this color scheme. I'm surprised they didn't announce it. Well, then again, FansToys never announced repaints because you'd wait, right? Now, I've got to talk about the weight of this guy, and he's very light for a FansToys figure of this size. Now, if it was a FansToys mini bot and it weighed this weight, oh yeah, that feels right. Or, you know, something smaller than this big of a bot. This is because he's going to be atop of a big figure. So the lightweight head makes a lot of sense. And I'm starting to think they're figuring this out for what they're going to do with their combiners. So in my mind, it's like, oh, we're learning from our combiners, so let's do it right on this. It doesn't have a lot of diecast. I've felt very little diecast in this so far. I mean, there's some in it, but the thing is, making it lightweight is a smart move. All right, so I kind of want to test something really quick here. So when you pull this off, obviously that goes away. So if I pull this one off, you know, nothing goes away. And these are like, what, a month apart releases or something? So then I push this one on here, and, well, it doesn't hold, but it doesn't go all the way. So, is this a new gimmick? Like, are we going to retroactively get this into other figures and future releases? Or is this going to be just because it's for Cerebros? So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with this whole situation, but pretty interesting. All right, so let's get this thing transformed. We're going to start with this guy right here. And this is the Spike, not Daniel. So let's get him transformed, untab the arms. Not much to it. Right here, untab this. It's a really tight ball socket right there. Really tight. Anyway, that way he can stand. There he is. I mean, there's not much to him, so get a good look. This is the tight returns one. But let's move on to transforming this big guy. So one more thing about this guy that I quickly transformed him in. I did not do this. As you can see, you can pull this back and you can flip this head around. That's just, it pops off real easily. And then I like that it's got an adjustable piece right there, and you can stick it in there and then adjust it up so it just hides the face over here. Okay, now with his head off and Spike moved aside, what all can we get done here? So what we're going to do is, first off, let's hide the hands. And it's like that. I kind of like this way they do this, so that works pretty good. And then we're going to pop this open, and then we're going to open that, and then this is going to come over this direction, and kind of do it at the same time, and they're going to tab in. So there's a tab here that's going to go into that slot on both of these, and work it in at the same time. We're in kind of this configuration right now, and this is going to fold up when we're done. So that kind of works like so, and that does work pretty good. Okay, so we can flip this up, and let's go ahead and rotate this right now. And so this is something, if you really wanted to get a little bit more leg movement, I didn't show it in articulation, but you can get a little more, but it's still hindered for whatever reason. But still, let's go down here to these legs. Now, I want to point out on these legs that you fold up these, but I didn't really use them. And that one is super ridiculous tight. So I don't really know why that is super ridiculous tight. But let's go ahead and start performing some surgery. Untab this part here, and then we're going to open it up. Now, I left this side already a little bit untabbed. You don't have to, but this side was tabbed in all the way. Mine came sort of untabbed, so I was kind of wondering why. There's this other tab here, which you fold down because this section is going to go into it, which is kind of smart. We're going to fold this in also, and then fold this on out, and this is going to go... It only goes one direction. We are going to pull this out, flip it around. Oh, flip it around this direction. There we go. And then we're going to pull this out. Now this is on a slider here. So, sliding mechanism, they're really getting obsessed. FansToys is getting really obsessed with sliders for some reason. Slide that in, fold this down. So, not really sure what their super obsession with sliders is, but... And then we're going to collapse this leg into here, and then we're going to be able to fold this up, and then we can kind of get this ready to go because it's going to fold downward when we're done. Now this skirt that we got going on, I skirted this issue here. I'm going to fold it down, fold it in. All right, doing the other leg. So we're going to undo this, and then we're going to pop this out, and so it opens right here, but there's tabs right here holding that in. And make sure this is closed. Then we can go ahead and get this piece here out, and it's on a slider. Slide up, slide down and around, and then close this up and then open this piece here, and then slide this out around, and then collapse the leg like so. And this is going to fold up. Oh, I didn't close this. This piece here has to close so that you have room and clearance for all this other stuff to work in there. And then next I have to fix this flap, and it's on a slider, and it's on a really tight joint in here. So let me get that. It might have been easier to do before we collapse the leg, to tell you the truth. Probably should have. This side's like way tighter than the other side for some reason. Okay, anyway, I was having a lot of trouble with that, so I pulled it off camera so I could just manhandle it from the side there. This is extremely tight. Took a lot of pressure for me to fold that over. Just like one of these heel spurs is on that one, was extremely tight. So we want to get it in position so it can fold over. So next, what are we going to do here? We are going to lift up on this right here. Now the goal is to get this through here, get this piece through here, and let's see here. There's not a whole lot of space for your fingers to do this, so that's a little bit of a challenge, but there it goes. Sorta. There it is. Now, get that flap out of the way. Should be looking something like this. Now we're going to go ahead and rock this waist down in there. It's like that Magic Square Prime kind of waist going on. Tucking it down. Then we're going to get in here and start folding this in. Now we have a tab here and a slot there. So let's get that in place. And then this will slot into here. Same thing on this side. Tab and then a slot. If it's lined up just right, it'll slot in just right. Okay. Then we go around to the back of this and get this up here. Tab this in, tab and a slot right there. And then right here, same thing. And it's more or less done. I am going to see if I can tighten it up in a few other spots, a few other places, but overall, pretty much done. We'll take a good look at it. Let me look at it a little bit more and see if every tab is in its place, and maybe get some lights working. Alright, so here is the head, the Cerebros, the Hannibal in the head mode. As you can see, it could just kind of sit on this stand if that's something that you wanted to do, but overall, it's a very nice looking head. One thing that FansToys really does is a great, fantastic head sculpt. So I do like that about FansToys a lot. Their head sculpts, they look good, very stoic, very Transformers-ish. Feel like it came out of the cartoon. Now, a couple things on this. This does have light up eyes, and I can't get the battery right, so I'll show that here in a second. But it's got some kind of metallic paint that when it lights up, the light will still work. That's a great feature. We do have some transparent plastic right here, showing a little bit of detail in there. And then one thing that I think is kind of strange, and I kept thinking I did something wrong, but it's really gappy on the top. But I guess they're expecting it's going to be so big, no one look at the top of his head. So I guess that's okay. From the side, it looks okay, and it's got the QC sticker and all that kind of stuff. And then the back, it's not really actually that bad. And I think the transformation's sort of okay. It's relatively intuitive. It's not bad at all. So I don't know. I wouldn't want 25 more panels to cover up all that, I guess. So I'll live with that. It's okay. There it is from the bottom. And overall, I think it looks pretty good. Let's get into a couple of the gimmicks. First off, you can swap the face. And this is where the battery would go. But see, I have a ton of these. I buy them in bulk. And the CR2032 is too big. I've never seen a battery that size, so more batteries I'm about to have, so that kind of sucks. So here we go, and he's like, ah! That's like a screaming face. Like, we're going to battle. Tripticon, chill out. Is that what he's saying? But I don't like these crazy faces. I actually like these here. So there we go. Now, there's a couple other things we can do with this. You have these other parts here, and you literally could just pop the old ones off. You have to pull it, partially mistransform it or untransform it, and they literally just pop off and back on. But you know me, I don't like doing all that, and it just gives it more detail. I like the cartoon look a little bit more, but that's kind of how it would look if you popped all that stuff off. But it literally pops right off and pops on. Theoretically, I don't trust it. I'm going to break it, and I don't want to break anything. So anyway, I think it looks good the way it is. Let's do a quick comparison. Now, the only thing I really have to compare to is, well, this is the Titan Returns version, and of course, it does have electronic sound and that kind of stuff, and this should light up in the eyes, but I don't have the battery. So, but this looks so much better. But I like the color scheme on this, and I would like to get this in the other color scheme. I'm a sucker. I will buy this again if they come out with more of a Season 4 color scheme and that kind of thing, matching this a little bit better. But this is good, though. Hasbro did a pretty good job with this overall. But FansToys, of course, destroys it. You have to agree. So one more thing about this guy that I quickly transformed him in. I did not do this. As you can see, you can pull this back, and you can flip this head around. That's just, it pops off real easily. And then I like that it's got an adjustable piece right there, and you can stick it in there and then adjust it up so it just hides the face. But that's not the coolest part. It makes the face swapping easy. I think everything face swapping on this is super easy. So we have this part here that could face swap if you wanted his head to look like this. And because of all that, it makes it look so much easier to do that. It feels like something in here should pop up too. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing in that too. That's crazy. Does it have that here? No. This looks like it should pop up. But anyway, it makes it a little bit easier to swap heads, but it's also so you can transform it. Cool stuff. Just little bitty details that are different that I haven't quite seen before. And lastly, we got one more gimmick accessory. I saw this. I've been looking at pictures of this for almost 2.5 years now and wondering why. So you kind of fold that down like so, and then there's a slot on the bottom right here, and you can put it in. And it actually holds okay, but you know, it's strange. This is something from probably the Headmaster series. I have not entirely watched the Headmaster series. There's screws on that side, so you probably want to use this side. And it's reversible. You can put it on either side. So, cool gimmick that really means nothing to me. So this has been my look at the FT-40A Hannibal. It is a pretty good figure, pretty solid. It's got a few areas like my leg keeps coming detached, but that's not a huge deal, and it's going to display very well. It is lightweight, which I commend. It's a good thing that it's lightweight. And the limitations on the articulation don't really bother me because I don't need mine super duper hyperposable. Some people do though, but at the end of the day, most people are going to use this for a head on their FT-40, right? Oh, no, probably not. Actually, I believe most people are going to use this as a standalone figure in their collection and pass on FT-40, but it's still a good looking figure. You can get yours at ShowZ. I'll have a link down below where you can get yours. Like and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Did you get this? Are you not getting it? Are you waiting for a recolor? Touch your finger out.
No. What? I must stand by what I believe in. My one wish is to never fight again. What are you looking for? There! One of these, is it? I recommend haste to rebuild the city. Into what? You're gonna find out, cause you're gonna be part of it.
Decepticons, prepare to face Fortress Maximus.
Ready, Cerebros? Must you force me to do that which I hate? This scrap for brains! And now that you don't need me anymore, please deactivate me.
No way! You gotta see this!